All right, guys, welcome back for another interview. And today we've got a person that is very near and dear to my heart, and somebody that you may have already seen, but if not, I want to make sure that she gets her attention because she's my boss. So Priya is in charge of marketing, but Priya, can you tell me a little bit about what you do here at DataVisor and let the crowd know kind of who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Eric, for having me here. It's very exciting to have this conversation. And I'm Priya. I'm the VP and Head of Marketing at DataVisor. DataVisor itself is a 6-year-old company. It's pretty young. And we are in the AI and machine learning space for fraud and risk management. And I basically head the marketing efforts here. So very excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. I definitely wanted to talk to you because one of the things that I noticed is over this last month and a half since I joined, time flies. But a big part of the reason why time flies is because there's just so much happening. So less than 2 weeks after I joined the company, we were recognized as a cool vendor by Gartner, which I didn't need to be here to know that's a big deal. And then most recently, we were named one of the tech pioneers for 2020, the 20th anniversary year actually of the World Economic Forum, which truthfully, I didn't know how big of a deal it was until I started to look into this. And then I said, okay, like, especially in the current climate in which we're living, this is a huge deal. We're clearly a rising star in the world of technology, but I would like to hear from you. Why do you think that is, and why do you think these honors are coming our way recently?
Yeah, absolutely. And Eric, quite honestly, it's been a very exciting time indeed, among all the things that's happening around in the world. And I hope you're staying safe and healthy as well. And I hope all our listeners are. And, in spite of all the uncertain things that have been happening around us, we're very, very excited as a company because it is a very momentous time for us. As I mentioned, we are a very young company. We are only 6 years old. And, 6 years back, DataVisor was actually started to have a very transformational approach to managing fraud and risk. And the reason I say that is because, a lot of legacy solutions and even like the new players in the market really focused on what we call as known type of fraud attacks, which means, they rely on historic loss labels to really predict, future types of fraud. And we all know, that's not sufficient. Knowing the known is not sufficient, right? Because every day we hear about data breaches, we hear about systems being compromised. And so there is a need to really look at, these unknown type of attacks that we have previously not seen and be able to address them in real time. And so DataVisor was actually founded based on this based on our own proprietary unsupervised machine learning, which basically looks at emerging threat attacks without ever having any prior knowledge of what the attack actually looks like. So to be recognized by Gartner as a cool vendor for our approach is truly defining for us. It's a validation of our success, and we're truly excited about it. When it comes to World Economic Forum, I must say, it's very, very special to my heart. As a company and as a head of marketing, we won several awards, including Forbes and Wall Street Journal, and most recently Gartner. But being a technology pioneer at the World Economic Forum truly means, it aligns with our mission and vision of making digital channels a safe place for everyone, right? Make it a safer world for everyone, and having that opportunity to participate in projects and using innovative technology to really advance this mission is very profound. And we are so happy to have this opportunity, and we're so honored to be part of the technology pioneer.
No, I definitely, I certainly agree with you. I've been part of companies that have had a lot of awards like Gartner and things along those lines. But to hear something about the World Economic Forum and to understand what they're truly doing, it's something really special, and it's something that I'm honored to be part of as well. But speaking from a world perspective, our customers are everywhere. We have customers that do everything. We have customers in banking, we have customers in insurance, e-commerce, you name it, we've got it. And I guess one of the big questions is, before the recognition, if you will, and since, why are customers choosing us?
Yeah, and you're right, Eric. DataVisor is a global company. We're pretty much across the globe in Europe, Asia, and of course in the US, and also in Southeast Asian markets. So we're a global company across different industries. And the one simplest reason I would say is, change is inevitable, right? We all have to adapt to change. And given how much things are moving into digital and how many things are going online, including like services, having AI and machine learning is no longer a luxury. It's a necessity. And it's a necessity for two reasons. One is that fraudsters themselves are very sophisticated and they're using AI and machine learning themselves to actually make these huge attacks on organizations, which, at a very simplistic level causes huge financial losses, not to mention reputational losses, right? And so, there is a need for organizations to take action. And as companies grow and as they get more and more into digital channels, they have to grow without the operational overhead, without the resource overhead. You can grow your cost at the same rate as you grow your revenue. And so, so there is a need for automation and automation at scale. And so if you look at many of the data that's coming in today's world, there's unstructured data, there's chatbots, there's wearables, there's IoT, there's digital payments, and existing solutions are not equipped for it. They are legacy solutions. They are founded on archaic technologies, which really cannot handle neither the volume or the variety of the data that's coming into today. So pretty much across our global customer base, all of these are large enterprises who have a huge growth trajectory, who are innovators themselves. And so there is a need to be able to manage fraud and risk at scale, so they don't impact their good customers, and at the same time, it doesn't cause a huge operational burden on their existing teams. And so, that's pretty much the value that DataVisor provides in terms of helping them scale their fraud operations without scaling the cost and not increasing the friction for their good customers.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head, and something that I think about when it comes to DataVisor is, in the new world, so to speak, people are getting used to the idea of not necessarily being in the same place at the same time and being able to capture all these things. And that's something that people have challenged with in the past. And when I think about it, it's funny. We've never met face to face, and that's going to be potentially some part of the new normal. But I feel like being a company that is set up and so ready to understand working remotely helps us to help our customers. And I guess the one thing that I'm thinking about is, moving into the future, which obviously in 2020, who knows what tomorrow might bring. But what are some of the opportunities that you see for us and our customers?
Yeah, and as we all know, with the recent developments, definitely things are going more online. As you see, you and I have never met face to face, and hopefully we will soon enough. But I think that is the new reality. You see a lot of tech companies moving completely virtual. Employees are working from home, and there potentially could be no office space. 6 months back, if you had told me I would never go to a grocery store, I would have probably never believed it. And food delivery is a new norm these days. And so, the world around us is changing, and it's changing fast, but it's also changing for the better, right? I mean, I know a lot of people, and including myself, I'm getting more time to spend time with my kids and not having to stand in a line at Costco. And so, this is the new normal for all of us. And as more and more things move to digital, if you look back in 2000s, we call it, digital acceleration. It's no longer accelerated. It's just like, it's a rocket into space, right? Because everybody is pretty much moving online these days. And so, and as more and more people move online, as there are newer products, newer services, and newer kinds of data, it is going to be inevitable that, fraudsters are going to take advantage of this as well, right? And there are potentially a lot of businesses, including traditional ones like banks, where we open accounts using our mobile phones, where we go and pay our insurance bills online, where we try to get an iPhone online. So a lot of these services are potential opportunities for attack for these fraudsters, and the opportunity for DataVisor. And while I say it's an opportunity, it's also our mission, is how do we really protect these organizations? How do we protect these organizations from fraudsters, from malicious actors who are taking advantage of these new services that the organizations are giving to good customers to really make their lives better? And so as more and more things move online, as more and more data gets created, I think it's going to be very important for companies like DataVisor to really be committed to the mission to help these organizations protect themselves, protect their customers, and also protect the end users from being victims of fraud attacks.
And you kind of started to talk about what my next question was going to be, because inevitably, when there's opportunity, there's also the potential for some challenges. And one of the biggest challenges, two of the biggest, first and foremost, with everyone being home, to your point, there is more opportunity for fraudsters to, create fraud opportunities for themselves. Because, hey, if I'm just going to be trapped here, I'm going to use the time wisely for themselves. Obviously not really what we want to have happen, but that's the reality. But secondarily, when I think about it, is the need came so fast for the work. Certain people had moved forward without this, but then all of a sudden everybody said, whoa, we need this solution because now that is what the normal is. So kind of talking about the challenges, my main thing that I see is just the bandwidth opportunity, because there's just so many coming at the same time. What type of challenges do you see that are coming for our customers, and potentially even for the company as a whole, just to be able to handle the workload coming our way?
Yeah, and the challenges are not just for us, it's for organizations too, right? Because as we were talking about, more data, more products, more services, more online, just basically means more vectors of attack. And we all know fraudsters are also very smart. They have the same access to technology that we do. They are actually very intelligent, and they have an access to a lot of tools. And if you look at it, fraudsters, for this to be profitable to fraudsters, they actually have to make a lot of money, and so they're going after big attacks, big compromises, and so on. And so they're also constantly evolving their type of attacks. So as they're looking into it, fraudsters, if you kind of think about it, this is kind of like their full-time job. And so, they have to retool, they have to, reskill themselves to actually make newer type of attack, because obviously, companies like DataVisor are helping organizations stop the known types of attacks. And so as fraudsters become smarter, as they use new tools, we also have to completely innovate, right? I think that's why fraud prevention is not complacent, laid back initiative, because it's alive, it's ongoing, and in what we call as a whack-a-mole approach, right? Which is when you put down one side, the other side actually comes up, and it's a cat and mouse game. And so as a company, as a provider, we have to constantly think about, hey, what are these different sources of attacks, and how do we actually solve them? So, we look at fraud prevention and risk management holistically, not just from, your browser, for example. Sometimes it might be coming from mobile devices. And so you do have to have device intelligence associated with it. And some of these attacks might be unknown. So you need to use an approach like unsupervised machine learning. And some of them might be very obvious ones, certain types of attacks you just want to stop because that they are fraud. And so you might want to use a combination of rules and supervised machine learning. So, so this fraud prevention is not a one-dimensional approach. It's a holistic approach. And which is why, our products are also meant to be holistic solutions, anywhere from, looking at malicious devices, looking at unknown attacks, stopping known attacks. Our challenge is to really be innovative and continue to add to our product suite and continue to add tools to our product suite, which will really help these organizations look at fraud holistically and basically plug in every potential opportunity for being compromised. And that's a continuous challenge for us. And of course, we have the experts in this area. Most of our companies are PhDs in security and computer science, and so we're able to continuously innovate to help organizations, keep their defenses, modern and innovative and robust as possible.
There's so much stuff going on, and there's so much happening within the company that, one of the biggest things that I'm looking forward to in these coming weeks is going to be the Defend event coming up. We're going to be having Jonathan River there and a ton of other, major A-list experts in the field. So can you tell me a little bit about what's going to be happening at this upcoming event?
Yeah, absolutely, Eric. I'm actually very excited about this event because, one of the things being in a startup and being in a defining space like AI and machine learning for fraud prevention is that there's a lot of education that needs to happen, and there is a lot of helping practitioners in this field also be aware of the innovations that are happening in space and what DataVisor is doing in that respect. So, with other leaders in the space to really help us have a conversation about, how do we protect organizations in the new normal, and, how technology can really drive this in the forefront. So I'm very excited about this event, and it will be the first of many. So I look forward to seeing many of you on July 16th.
All right. Well, you know what? I definitely agree with you. It's going to be a really exciting time. I can't wait to see what the virtual event series looks like. I think that after this first one, people are going to be talking, and they're going to be looking forward to what the next ones, 2, 3, 4, however many it is in this virtual webinar series. We don't know yet, because there's always going to be new opportunities, new things to be talking about. But I appreciate you taking the time today, and I'm sure that our viewers also really appreciate you taking the time. But thank you again, and I look forward to talking with you again soon.
Thank you, Eric. Nice talking to you as well.